Almost there. One more setting. And one more piece of the unique is operational.
One down, 1 million to go. Speaking of which, boss, I found exactly none of the parts you wanted. A whole day at the junk pile, and all I turn up are a locker and some stupid conduits. Maybe next time. Boss, are you sure you got those settings right?
That came from down in engineering. Let's go.
Boss?
Crispin, get behind me. Who are you and what do you want?
Power.
I think he wants the power core, boss.
Stop right there. This ship belongs to me.
Forfeit. Enemy. Plunder.
I don't think he's too keen on private property.
Get away from the power core.
Forfeit.
Boss? Boss? Horatio? Come on, Horatio, wake up!
Ugh.
Whew, you're okay.
What happened?
Well, Big Ugly threw you out of the ship. And then he said plunder. Again. And then he left with our power core.
Basad.
Yep.
How much charge have you got?
10%. You?
I'll be fine. We just need to get the emergency generator up and running.
Or we could just go to Metropole, city of glass and light. Free energy for one and all.
Don't believe everything you hear. Metropole is trouble. But if you want to go, we've got free will in a maglev unit.
With that guilt subroutine you put in me, I wouldn't even make it halfway.
Actually, with a 10% charge, you wouldn't even get that far. So I suggest we get the generator working.
You and your projects.
Man built us to build, Crispin. Now, come on. I can't pick that up. It's one of the Unique's turbines.
The big engine that couldn't. Is that a gumball machine?
No, it's a robot's head.
I wanted a gumball. Now, I'm not a fancy engineer like you, boss, but it seems like the Unique isn't gonna fly without its tail on.
A broken robot I dragged out of the junk pile. I salvaged the sarcasm coprocessor from it for Crispin.
Yeah, it works great.
I must have dropped my data pouch when I was thrown out of the Unique. Assad, its memory got wiped. Easy enough to have the good old junk pile's coordinates back in, though. The data pouch is registered to me. It's the Unique's tag. Without it, I'd have never known the ship's name.
Apparently, building a giant airship doesn't require proper spelling.
Apparently not. It's a segment of Gordium electrical conduit. Blasted leaking gasket.
Is it blasted or leaking?
Some very sticky grease. A sturdy cable. There's supposed to be a power-bearing conduit between this socket and the ship, but I never got around to putting one together.
Now who's the procrastinator?
Crispin, when I told you to find a new spark plug, did you just shove my conductive putty into the old one?
Maybe.
No wonder the generator isn't working. At least the putty is still good. It's not going to do anything until the generator's fixed. The hatch is unresponsive. It's pitch black in there. There's no way I can reach that. Could you grab that lantern?
Sure thing, boss.
You know, I always wanted to be able to fly. That's why I built you with a maglev unit.
Not so that you could store tools on hard-to-reach ledges?
Well, that too. There's no way I can reach that.
That's way too big for me to get, boss, and you know it. Strange clouds, huh, boss?
Only a little sliver left before the moon wanes entirely.
Well, I'm glad we're not the only ones running out of power.
An old captain's chair. I moved it here from navigation. A large observational telescope. It's pitch black in there.
I'm afraid of the dark.
I can't pick that up.
That piece of sheet metal really ties the room together, boss.
Bedtime reading. It's the Gospel of Man. I don't need to bring these with me.
After all, boss, life is stranger than fiction. Going to pray for a miracle, boss?
We are man's miracle, Crispin. Let's hope that's enough.
So that's where you keep it.
Why were you looking for my plasma torch?
No reason.
This is no time for a nap,
I still don't see why I don't get a bed.
because you have a flat bottom to rest on.
Boss, were you checking out my bottom?
The controls for this hatch are unresponsive. Good thing there's still some power in the circuit.
Boss, shouldn't you have thought of that before coming down here? We could have been stuck.
I could have just ridden you back to the deck.
Really?
No. Routing that much power to your maglev unit would cause it to explode.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I couldn't find a working fuse to solve the problem.
I'm a floating bomb. I'm a floating bomb. Sweet. You know, boss, if you're ever wondering what I would do, feel free to just ask.
I'll keep that in mind. Crispin Horatio build, version 1. There'll be version 2 once I put some arms on him. He's my best and only friend.
Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we go to the junk pile so you can look for some spare parts?
Am I detecting hostility?
Hostile? Me? I'm not even armed.
Better just to leave it alone.
How do you think a train wound up out here, boss?
Maybe they brought it here by boat.
Very funny. Boss, just think of all the brothers and sisters you could make for me from all that junk.
One of you is more than enough. Endless junk. Looks like an old P2, or is it a P3? Endless junk. There's a piece of Gordium conduit way back there. I can't reach the conduit. Crispin, can you go in there and get that piece of conduit?
I suppose. That would have been a lot easier with hands, boss.
It's just scrap. Endless junk.
If that red went off, I bet the train would start going.
Crispin, sometimes I think you're trying to get me to waste time.
Who, me?
Looks like some kind of lockbox. It's locked tight. It's 3 pieces of Gordium conduit. Unfortunately, one of them is completely corroded and worthless. It's just scrap. Let's see if this works.
Is that a spark plug, boss? Who locks up a spark plug?
Actually, I think that box was some kind of machine.
You killed it!
Recycled it. I guess it was actually some kind of machine. I'm pretty sure it was already dead, though. It's closed. It's locked tight. It's reinforced steel. It won't work until they're locked together. Time for a little welding.
Wow, that was easier than I thought it would be.
What?
thought we were in trouble when Big Ugly stole our core. But just like that, problem solved.
The problem is not solved.
Well, I agree. The noise leaves something to be desired.
This is an emergency generator, Crispin.
Well, it was an emergency, boss.
It only runs for a few days, if that.
Oh. Well, do we have another one?
No, which means it still is an emergency.
Well, in that case, first dibs on the recharge station. So, what's the plan, boss?
We need to recover our power core.
Or we could just take the train to Metropole and live in luxury.
First of all, there is no train to Metropole. And second, even with full charges, we can't just walk there. But more importantly, I hate that city. It's in my core logic. I don't know why, but I can't change it.
Okay. In that case, can you just make us a new power core?
Yes, but I need some kind of strong energy source for that.
Can you just make one of those too? I'm just asking.
No, but somewhere around here are the plans for an energy sensor.
That's awfully convenient.
I designed it a long time ago, before I made you. I even found a sodium iodide crystal to use in the sensor, though man alone knows where it's buried now.
Weary wanderers, come, join us in Metropole, city of glass and light. Our energy is
Hey boss, what do all these buttons and switches do?
I think there's some sort of defense mechanisms, but I can't figure them out.
come, join us in Metropole. Geocoordinates 894. All are equal in Metropole.
Crispin, why is your diary still scattered all over the floor?
Join us.
Are you going to keep nagging me until we run out of power, boss?
Yes. An interlocking hatchway.
Weary wanderers, come, join us in Metropole.
It's the Unique's recharging station.
And light.
A collection of product manuals, how-to guides, and technical treatises.
Do you think the sensor design might be in here?
No, these are all books I scavenged. A collection of...
Do you think the sensor design...
No, these are all books I don't need any of these right now.
Let's hope it stays that way.
It's Crispin's log. In order to preserve his privacy and my sanity, I've avoided reading it. We're fine on energy, for now.
Our energy is shared with all robots. Here is haven for all and strength in numbers. Come, join us in Metropole. Geocoordinates 894. All are equal in Metropole.
Good
Equal
old
parts
Crispin.
of the greater whole.
How do you lose a
Join us,
crystal,
and
boss?
together
If
let
I
us
had one, I'd
begin
attach it to my head.
Primordia.
That's why I put it somewhere you wouldn't find it.
You can't hide something shiny forever.
Weary wanderers, come, join us in Metropole. City of glass and light.
That record player was a
Our
good
energy
find,
is
Crispin.
shared with
I
all
still think you
robots.
should have let me have its arm.
Here
I'm
is
pretty sure
haven
that arm
for
came from a
all
sewing
and
machine.
strength in numbers.
On second
Come,
thought, maybe I
join
should have
us
let you
in
have it.
Metropole. Geocoordinates 894. All are equal in Metropole, equal parts of the greater whole. Join us, and together let us... Weary wanderers, come, join us in Metropole, city of glass and light. Our energy is shared with all robots.
It's a universal interface plug connecting the antenna to the radio. I bet I can find a better use for this plug.
But now we can't listen to the sweet voice of Metropole.
I guess that makes two birds. A Quentin Questron LCD monitor. It's Crispin's to-do list. Funny how it never gets any shorter.
That's your fault, boss, not mine.
I found this in the dunes. It reads, pound pastrami, canned kraut, 6 bagels, bring home for Emma. It's Crispin's to-do list. Funny how it...
That's your...
The original designs for Crispin.
Hey, there are arms here! And an awesome set of tractor treads!
I went with a maglev unit instead, and I never could find good arms. There's the design. I'll put the keynotes into my data pouch.
How does it even work?
The crystal pulses when it absorbs energy. The cable carries the pulse to the computer. The computer decodes the information and displays it on the monitor.
Boss, where are we going to find a working computer?
The Unique is full of them.
Oh, right.
The energy sensor requires a sodium iodide crystal connected to a cable, which in turn needs to be connected to a CPU and a monitor. The energy sensor... I don't think that would be wise. Yet another reason that besotting robot should be reduced to scrap. A computer terminal.
That is where our power core should be shedding its light silently.
There's nothing I can do with it until I have some kind of power source. A universal socket for plugging in peripheral hardware. The only way I can use this is by plugging something in. Good old Crispin.
Boss, since everything else awesome in the Unique, by which I mean the plasma torch, turns up in your room, maybe we should look there for the crystal.
This is no time for... It's an excellent tale. It's just detached. I don't think that would be wise. An old rag.
Wow, first the power core and now a rag. This is not your day.
Some rotted alloy support beams. I don't need that. Twisted, corroded copper with micro-sandwiched ceramics. Too bad this stuff is mostly unworkable with a plasma torch. I've never been able to figure it out.
Hey boss, what do all these buttons and switches do?
I think there's some sort of... We're fine on energy. It's the Unique's recharging. Good old Crispin.
So boss, are you ever gonna try and find that rag you knocked loose? It can't have gone far.
Aha! Here's the crystal.
Right under our noses. That is, if we had noses.
A sodium iodide crystal. It pulses when exposed to energy. The only way I can use this is by plugging something in. The crystal glows a bit when the plasma torch is near it. Let's cut a little cable off. That's never going to work. I need something to hold it in place to carry the charge. A small lump of electrically conductive putty.
Are you really trying to build us an energy sensor from a bunch of garbage?
Crispin, I built you from a bunch of garbage.
From spare parts, boss. Spare parts.
Well, just goes to show. Garbage in, greatness out. It still needs a CPU to hook into and some kind of display. A universal socket for plugging in peripheral hardware. Now we just need to check out these coordinates.
But didn't you just tell me we don't have enough power to go walking all over the dunes?
No, I said we couldn't walk to Metropole. Anyway, most of these are close by.
But what if it's picking up, oh, I don't know, a radioactive rust monster?
A what?
Or a giant cannibal robot?
There's no such thing.
Or an unexploded bomb?
I highly doubt that.
Or a giant lightning storm?
Okay, you're right. We need to know what's out there before we take off. It's just a matter of figuring out how.
Why is nothing easy?
I can think of one reason. Good old Crispin.
Weren't you just saying the other day that the telescope uses geo-coordinates?
Good thinking. Plans for an energy sensor. There needs to be some... Nothing but radioactive waste. We can't salvage anything from that.
Boss, that looks like a giant cannibal robot to me.
It looks promising is what it looks like.
And with that, poor doomed Horatio stuck his head into the giant's mouth.
That's strange. The sensor detected an energy source in the junk pile. Maybe we should go look more carefully. More waste.
Well, you're the one who loves the junk pile.
Scrap isn't waste.
If you say so, boss.
It's pitch black.
Boss, that's because the telescope's pointing straight down at the deck.
Oh. Nothing of interest there. Good old Crispin.
Boss, as long as we're checking coordinates, we might as well keep looking, right?